Okay, so for those of y'all who are not familiar with Shannon Sharpe, he used to work for ESPN. He used to work with Skip Bayless, I think. He still works with ESPN, but he's not on that show with Skip anymore. He's since branched out. He's still a commentator, but he's a former NFL football player. He went to Savannah State for college.
Oh, he did.
He did. Let's see what else. He's friends with Ocho Cinco. They have their podcast called Nightcap. He has the very popular podcast on YouTube. His podcast really gained a lot of traction and notoriety after his interview with Cat Williams in January of this year. So, he does pretty well for himself, for the culture. A lot of people like to affectionately call him Unc. So this past week, the story is he allegedly accidentally went on live while he was having sexual relations with a woman, what appears to be a woman. And you basically could hear him having sexual talk with the woman as they were in the act. And it was a very personal and intimate moment. And according to him, he did not know that he was live. It was an accident. He never intended to go live. He put his phone down, thought that he was good in the safety and privacy of his own home. And lo and behold, he was on live engaging in sexual activity for the whole world to hear the audio. No visuals, but definitely can hear the audio of it. Okay. So with that, initially he said that he had been hacked and it wasn't him. But then he shortly came back afterwards and retracted his statement and said, "You know what, y'all? It was me. Okay? It was me. Okay? I apologize. I'm embarrassed. It was me, y'all. I did it." Okay. So what you got to think about that? What you think?
And it's just a question.
Do you think it was an accident? That's the number one question.
Do you think it was a woman?
I'm referring to that Mama Michelle. I like his country tale. Yes, I think it's a woman. But here's the thing. I don't think that was an accident. I don't think so. I think that, yes, I think he may have had... It's like 4 different steps you have to go through in order to go live on Instagram. I don't think it was an accident.
That's true.
I think the reason he staged that is because prior to this incident, people were constantly accusing him of being gay and or bisexual. They were questioning his sexual orientation. Now, Shannon Sharpe is 54, 55, 56. That's his business, whatever his orientation is. And I just really hate that the deep-rooted issue is, I hate that he felt like he had to do something allegedly as severe and as over the top as this, just to kind of prove that he's not gay. One, there's nothing wrong with being gay. But then 2, you 55, 56, you a grown man. You don't have to prove nothing to people on the internet. F people on the internet. They ain't finna roll up or say nothing slick to you, not in real life. They're just not. So I just thought that was crazy. But I do think it was a woman. But just because he's having sexual relations with a woman doesn't mean that the next night he can't be intimate with a man. And if he is, that's his business. That's his business. That's his business. He doesn't owe us that. I just hate that he felt pressured to kind of low-key let people know, like, I'm not gay. Like, I hate that he let that fragile masculinity get the best of him.
I think he was trying to let people know he wasn't
But
gay.
you don't have to prove nothing. You're a multi-millionaire. People watching you. You ain't watching them. Who cares what they think? Y'all keep liking. Y'all keep subscribing. And so he can keep making money off of them. I wouldn't, whatever. You rich. You making money off of people. Who cares if they question your sexual orientation? But on the flip side, I understand that oftentimes in certain communities, Like, but we can be very homophobic. Some of us, not all of us, but some of us can be very homophobic. And especially in the sports world, no matter what your color is, in the sports world, it's very big on hyper masculinity, and it's homophobic.
Yeah.
So, to his point, I understand somewhat. I don't fully understand. I can empathize because I'm not a black man who's, was a professional athlete, who's a Gen X. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
So, I guess I can see why he felt pressured to do something as drastic as that. Because he felt like his manhood, I guess, was being called into question. Maybe he got tired of defending it. And then another reason people thought he was allegedly gay, not that there's anything wrong with it. If he was bisexual, pansexual, that's his business. He had what believed to be an assistant who identified as gay. He was a young gay black man that was his stylist, who was dressing Shannon, had Shannon looking sharp. But people started to question his orientation because he was seen pictured out and about with this young black male stylist who just so happened to be gay. They would be sitting courtside at the basketball games. They'd be at the football games together. Any event that Shannon was doing, whether it was professionally or personally, that he was showing up to, oftentimes that young man would be with him. And that young man, I did some digging on him because I'm curious.
Because
he actually outed a former basketball player. He outed him as gay.
Oh, wow.
He used to work for. He was an assistant. Shannon Sharpe's former stylist. He's not a stylist anymore. He used to be an assistant to, I think his name was allegedly Keon Martin. He used to be his assistant, and Keon used to play in the NBA. Keon Martin, I think he used to date Trina, the rapper, too, allegedly. But the young man was an assistant to Keon Martin, and he claimed that him and Keon, they were in a relationship. And I guess when him and Keon fell out, and Keon didn't want to come out of the closet, according to him, and I guess he didn't pay him money that he owed him because he was Keon's stylist and lover. That's when he then decided to out Keon. And then they had their back and forth in the public eye and legally. So, it's very interesting. Shannon Sharpe's former wardrobe stylist. He definitely has a history of dealing with high profile, black athletes. And, he would tell you himself that, he's been in relationships with some of your well-known professional black male athletes. He served them in other capacities besides being an assistant or a stylist, but as a lover. So, I don't know, y'all. Hey.
So that made me think, why is Shannon... Okay.
So they were saying they was alleging that the young man was his boyfriend. Because the young man has a history of dating professional black male athletes, messing around with them behind closed doors and being in relationships with them. And these men, they take care of him. And the young man that Shannon was with, he was decked out with the designer purses, the designer clothes, and that was another thing. But he's a stylist, though, so he probably get those pieces for free or on loan or on credit. But people was like, well, are you taking care of him too? Like, how can a stylist afford all these diamonds and this and that? But, the young man has been in the industry for a while. That could be his own hard-earned money. You know what I mean? But people were insinuating that Shannon may be, potentially supporting him financially, allegedly. That's how he got his fashions. I don't know, y'all. It's just a lot going on. Let me see. Cool Weather Farmer said cell phones are listening to everything. I think he should have turned his phone off. Yeah. He said next time he he gonna leave his phone in the car. When he get in the house and get in the bedroom, he said the phone gonna be in the car. He's gonna be out there in the bedroom. Yes, it was a woman. I'm here for the show. The Tall Diva said,